Just like to note that Chief Hill is absent on council business for the Iroquois caucus. And she may, she may possibly join us a little later, depending when her plane lands. And as well, there is Leslie Green, Hazel Johnson, and Melba Thomas are also on council business at the Iroquois caucus.
Hi, everyone.
Hi there.
How are you?
We're well.
This is my first Zoom call, so I'm
You're not quite there yet, Ike.
okay.
Hang on. It's good to see that you're eager though. Before we get to Ike, we look at number 3, which is the adoption of the agenda and any additions. Helen? We have one. Okay, Helen, what's that? There's no tender. Are there any other additions? Hearing none, the agenda is adopted with the addition of the snow plowing tender. Moved by Dale, seconded by Amos. In agreement, Jens? Against? Seeing none against, the motion is carried. And now we have number 4, Isaac Watson of Ike's Asphalt. You may begin.
Work for your territory. Oh, geez. We did a bunch of work for your territory this year, and I just wanted for next season to be able to personally hand out flyers as we're working there. We've got a few more jobs to do there in the spring, and I just wanted to get all my ducks in a row for next season. So that's why I filled out that form, so I could see if I could go door to door and hand out flyers and cards so people know that we're there. Oh, is this muted?
Dale Bomberry here. So is this your second year you'll be wanting to do this for?
This will be the second year that will next year will be the next year. Yeah, second year. Yes, correct.
So you've already been going door to door already?
No, well, I technically no. We did a bunch of all your commercial work, and I did drop flyers and cards. I didn't know that wasn't allowed, and then I did get a cease and assist, and I did cease and assist, and then put the forms in. I was unaware.
Thank you.
Questions?
I got one.
Helen?
I don't have a problem because there was a lot of people got their driveways paved last year. I know that. And then nobody seemed to have any complaints.
Gary? You have a question?
Yes. Is this Brian Powers one of your customers?
Yes, I did Brian Paulus. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I see he's down as one of your references.
Yes, I also did for your water department for Steve Lickers. We did 3 jobs for him. We also did your housing department. We did the Veterans Hall, and also the is it? I hate to get it wrong. It's like the rehabilitation center, all on Chiefswood.
Canuck question?
The place right beside, I should have noted this up, but the place right beside the Veterans Hall.
Oh, I don't know.
I think they called it housing.
Helen? Okay, I'll read the recommendation. Which is recommendation 4.1. That the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council grant permission to Isaac Watson's company, Ike's Asphalt Inc., to solicit on the Six Nations of Grand River. And Helen, you're moving that? Amos seconding?
Yes.
In agreement, hands? Opposed? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Now we do a second reading on that? Okay. All right, Ike, just so you
Yeah.
know, this motion has passed. However, it requires at the next council meeting, it requires the second reading.
Okay, and what is that?
And to make
How
it
do I do that?
official, you only did the first reading of the motion. It requires a second reading, which will be at the next council meeting in a couple of weeks.
Okay, and do I Zoom call in on that one too? Or am I needed anymore?
You're good.
Okay,
Don't go shoveling yet, though.
okay, I won't see you till next spring.
All right, thank you, Ike.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
And next, under number 4, sub 2, delegations, we have the Six Nations Language Commission 2022 annual report. Are these folks online? Or I don't see anyone about.
Hi there, it's Karen. I'm here. My camera's off just because of the reception, though.
Okay. Karen from the Language Commission, she's reported, she's here, but her camera is off due to reception. Do you have anyone with you, Karen, that you would like to introduce?
No, it's just me. Yeah, just me right now, or for now.
Okay,
And
council, you should have a copy, a hard copy of the annual report in your package. If you would, Karen, maybe give us a highlight of your annual report.
yes, I'm certainly not intending to read or go page by page on it, but I just wanted to share some bullet points. Well, first of all, I guess I'd like to welcome the new councilors in chief, and we're pleased to be part of this event this evening. But and for those of you who are unaware, the Language Commission was initiated by the Six Nations Elected Council back in August 2008. The motion was moved by Claudine Benebri Albert and seconded by Melba, and that was to establish the Language Commission. That's a little bit of history there. And so for 16 consecutive years, Six Nations Grand River Elected Council has funded the Language Commission, maybe just over $9 million. We have an MOU with them, with you. It states that there's a base level of funding will be provided. However, it doesn't define an amount, but states that it will enable the commission to work towards the survival, revitalization, and maintenance of our languages. Language revitalization is our sole focus, and creating new speakers remains our primary priority. There's many other organizations here in the community that have language programs, and the commission is the only organization, though, whose sole concern is language revitalization and how that unfolds across the community. Growth and demand have been demonstrated in our adult immersion programs, which we know produce speakers. As a matter of fact, in the Ongawana program, 90% of their graduates from the last 10 years are employed as teachers, and many, if not most, in other community organizations. Graduates have also taken on careers such as like filmmakers, artists, entrepreneurs, speakers in longhouses. They've shared their language with their families, and some have pursued graduate studies. So this is a trend with Ongawana, that they have overall become ambassadors for what is possible, even if they only took a language to fulfill a personal drive to learn more. So right now we've got a pressing need to provide learning opportunities for intermediate and advanced learners, because right now our immersion programs only teach year 1 and year 2. So we really need a year 3 and year 4 to get speakers up to a superior level of speaking. The programs would certainly benefit from like a regular allocation. We actually raised this to the previous council in March 2022, And as we said before, it's difficult to plan and innovate to address these pressing needs with piecemeal funding. But still, as we work towards that time, we're immensely grateful for this funding that the Grand River Elected Council provides, and the impact it's having is truly significant. In terms of our revenue, which is on page 12, for the fiscal year, we're grateful for the continued support from not only our elected council, but Six Nations Community Development Trust, Grand River Enterprises, Six Nations Development Corporation, Six Nations Polytechnic, Grand River Employment Training, and there's in-kind contributions as well from private businesses such as the Bear Paw Group, and we have several committed individual donors too. Our salaries are based on 12 people. We've got 3 at head office, 3 at the QGA program, which is Duodeo Tagayakono. 6 at Onguana. And it does not include our 2 part-time positions of finance and our communications and social media person or our summer student. Those are listed under consultants. So we're grateful to be part of the Six Nations pension benefits plan as well, which started a summer ago in 2022. So that's something new for us. We lobbied for that for years too, so that's been awesome. So our financial picture shows that we have some slippage, but because we've got to have enough funds when our year ends to carry us at least into the first quarter, because we often don't receive council's allocation until we have our year end complete, which is usually around July-ish. So at present, we're working on a literature review on benefits of multilingualism, as well as a research paper for a language law or policy. And these literature reviews are helpful in our case for support to substantiate our financial requests to new funders. So next year, we plan on firming up our 10-year plan and our 20-year plan, our 20-year community plan. The 10-year plan is it's a way to help us map out the critically endangered state of our languages. Like the path will rely in large part on adult immersion programs in terms of stabilization, preservation, and revitalization of our languages. And adult immersion programming has and continues to support all other revitalization efforts in our community. The 20-year plan is like a broader plan, and that spans across the community and shows and communicates how everyone is contributing to the revitalization of our languages and helps us see where the gaps are so that we can create innovative programs to help reach more community members that are outside like just the regular adult daytime program alone. And of the folks that we talked to, the organizations that we talked to, there's not one person that doesn't support language. It also takes into account some of the recommendations from the Six Nations Community Plan and feedback from the Six Nations community members that they've given through other processes, such as like Lifelong Learning Task Force. So as you probably know, the idea of having a building dedicated to language has been around for several years. So it's something that's underway in other Haudenosaunee communities like Ganawagi and Tyendinaga, for example, but we recognize there's always other priorities in the community regarding capital funding and so on, but we mentioned this for consideration for longer term community planning. Like we would welcome the opportunity to discuss practical steps that we can take towards that goal. We've mentioned before, we do face restrictions with programming that we offer, like available rental space is one that often plays a big part in that. And so we really have evolved from simply being like a flow-through mechanism when we first started for language projects to strengthening community collaboration and engagement and conducting research and development or creating policies and updating our program framework. All this will lead to the critically endangered state, or will lead us out of the critically endangered state, rather, that our languages are currently facing. So, like I said, I wasn't going to read verbatim the activities that we've conducted over the year. You see that within pages, 5 to 11, I believe. But that's really what I wanted to present. If anyone has any questions.
Thank you, Karen, for your report, your excellent report. And we do have questions, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Karen, for your report. Yes, I sit on the Development Trust, also, and, one of the items that we discussed was the, contribution from, Haudenosaunee, the HDI. I was wondering if you could just, because, we discussed that at one of our meetings. I was just wondering, just for the new counselors, just how much they contribute, to the commission
Okay, well, each CCC
or
don't actually
HCCC.
contribute. Yeah, they don't actually contribute direct to the commission. They deal with the programs. They've never actually, initially when they started back in 2015, they did work with us for, I think, 2 years. Then after that, they went straight to the programs. So over the course of, well, since 2015, 16, when they started, because they pay for the stipends, which is a cost. I'm just looking at my spreadsheet here to see how much it totals. HCCC. It looks like, let's line up over. It looks like about 2.7 million. So the stipends is what they pay, which is, I believe, $350 a person.
Thank you.
That's
Gary,
350 a week. Sorry.
Yeah, Karen, in your report, you mentioned, a mentor apprentice program. Is that still going, or do you plan to start it up again?
Well, yeah, we ran that last year and it was very successful. We actually even extended it. We had partners involved, which was Lifelong Learning Task Force and Grant Employment and Training. I guess ideally we'd like to run it again. We just haven't secured the funding right now to do it again, but it was good because we had the teachers involved. Like we've always in some part helped teachers and contribute to teacher training. Actually, in prior years too, we had contracts direct with ISC, or even going way back when they were INAC. We always had a contract to help with teacher training. So right now we're not offering it, but it's certainly not off the table for future.
Okay, thanks.
are there any other questions regarding the language report? Audrey?
Not a question, just a statement. Thanks, Aaron, your staff and your commission for all the hard work that you do, because the more we learn our language and our culture, the better for everyone on Six Nations. So yeah, we'll see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Audrey. Any other comments? Amos?
I just want to note that I'm on the executive for the commission, so I don't know where that puts me right now, being elected to this 59th council. So I guess when it does come up for committees, I'll probably will volunteer to be the Six Nations elected council rep. So right now I'm sort of whether I'm in conflict. Okay.
It's for the community.
For the community. Okay. I just want to make clarification. Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay. Then I'll move that we accept the report.
Question first from Elena, or comment?
Hi Karen, it's Elena Venevri. I was just wondering what you have a bunch of consulting fees. It's quite a bit, 91,000. Do you have a general breakdown of what that's for?
Yes, excuse me, that's where we put our 2 part-time positions, our finance administration person, as well as our communication, social media, our summer student. And last year we had a language summit. So the what's it called? The consultant was on that, tagged on that line item as well. So that's a little higher than it normally would be because we wouldn't have that language summit consultant fee on that line
That makes a
every
lot more
year,
sense.
so.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, we'll move to the recommendation. And it's that the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council accept the Six Nations Language Commission 2022 annual report as information. Is there a mover? Audrey, seconder Amos? All in favor? Hands? Against? Seeing none, the motion is carried. Thank you again, Audrey, for the great work that you and your staff and commission members do on behalf of the community.
That's Karen.
Oh, geez, Karen. And I just made a note here, before you leave, it's that you would benefit, the program would benefit from an annual allocation. I just make a note because we're meeting with the different departments and we've yet to meet with finance. Just, we don't know the state of our affairs, and as much as people would like to say right here, of course, it deserves to have annual, we don't know. It's a slippery slope if we don't have the monies to support and annualize, but I did make a note of it for us to bring up when we have our meeting with finance. And thank you again.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and I normally submit our budget in by the end of November, which I guess would be tomorrow. So I'll send it on to, you send it to Wayne and the SAO. So Wayne and Nathan will get a copy of that as well.
Great. Thank you. Moving on to item number 5, which is the adoption of General Council minutes of November the 14th. And the recommendation is that the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council adopt General Council minutes of November 14th, 23 with noted changes and deletions. Are there any questions on the minutes before we ask for a mover and seconder? Dale?
Just one in regard, I know I wasn't here at that meeting, but in regards to item number 2 from the drinking water, like I was wondering if there was any correspondence from the organization that was in charge of this prior to all these deadlines. I was wondering if there was any communications with Six Nations that you were aware of, Nathan or Helen, I guess, who was here before. Item number 2. Yeah, if there was any correspondence from the administrator.
We'll
Okay.
we'll go to Nathan and then Helen. You may have something, Nathan.
I think you're referring to the from the administrator.
Yes.
Yeah, so there was just correspondence between the administrator and the chief's office. And that was when we were doing the back and forth in terms of providing the information. So I can compile all of that for you guys, just so you guys can see it. Yeah.
I was just curious as why, if we were off the list, why we would be off that list, because I know the district, water treatment plant wasn't in a boil advisory for a year, but a lot of the community members were in relation to their personal stuff, so I don't see why Six Nations would have been taken off that list. That's why. That's all. Thank you.
Any other questions, Audrey? You're still on mute.
Hey, I was almost done. Our former CEO used to keep track of all the minutes and all the things that had to be done. And he made a chart of them. And so I would like to see that picked up again, because this is how things get overlooked if we don't follow through on what we say we're going to follow through on. So do we need a motion for that? Or can we just do it?
There's Audrey was suggesting, in a nutshell, what I heard Audrey was suggesting action required, something like an action required, and there, and you put what it is, like a chart. And
Correct.
then status. But Nathan whispered in my ear that that's underway.
See that? Great minds think alike.
Coming back.
Yeah.
Helen,
I just wanted to clarify with Dale, because he said the Six Nations was taken off the list. We weren't taken off the list. We were never on the list.
thank you. Not thank you for not being on the list, but thank you for clarifying. It's not funny, I know. I'm getting calls daily on that. We had the questions. Any more questions before we ask for a mover and seconder of the minutes? Amos?
Are we getting an update on a Glebe property mess or what's happening up there, or is that next meeting?
Under, it's been asked if we're gonna get an update on the glebe. If, somebody is able to provide that, we'll do it under number 6, the next, where it's got counselor reports. If someone's available to do that, we will do it then. But before we do we have any more questions on the minutes? Dale?
I'll move on accepting the minutes from November 14th.
Helen, second, the minutes? All in agreement? Hands? Not in agreement? Seeing that, no disagreement, the motion is carried. On to number 6, which are the counselor reports. There was a question by one of the counselors, if we have an update on the glebe lot there. Greg, are you able to provide that?
Yes. I can give just an overview so far as the progress that's been going on. Did you want me to do that now?
Certainly.
Okay. Yeah, it's been going on now for 3 weeks. We started with the former chief, Mark Hill, and we distributed all the notices to the inhabitants of those trailers, and we were accompanied by the police, of course. And now we visited the area 3 times. There has been progress. I know Rod Whitlow has accompanied myself and Sherry Lynn on one occasion. And again, we are seeing they're actually cleaning up the property, the inhabitants there. They are also leaving. There's still some left. There's been a couple of trailers that have been removed, which is good. Just to clarify things, that those trailers are not owned by those inhabitants. They're owned by someone else. And we have given some names to the police on notifying them. Also, we've had Mike Mentor go in as well, just this past Friday, and also we went on Monday, and we assessed the area of entrance and exits. He will be actually closing off 3 exits on one of the streets that face Colburn Street, and then the other one that to Mohawk Park will be done later. Also, 2 signs are going to be erected, but I think the wording is going to be yet to be determined on that. There is going to be further visits coming up this Friday. And of course, I do have to commend that the police. They've been very, very professional. They've been very cordial to all the people, and I do recommend that our police force has been very respectful. So I do appreciate that, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to transition those inhabitants, which are mostly, there's only 2 First Nation inhabitants that are remaining that we are working with our socials and services as well to transition them into a better living condition. Actually, the majority of those inhabitants are from Brantford or the surrounding area or Brant County, and they do all realize that they are on native land. So, and they are working too as well, is to get off the land. But they have to transition. We have to approach social services in Brantford, which we've been doing. And we haven't had much cooperation from Brantford, but we keep working on that. And hopefully we'll get some more cooperation as we move forward. But so far it's progressing. It's not progressing as fast as we'd like, of course, but again, we're trying to be respectful to those inhabitants and find them proper services that they can actually partake with. For the non-First Nations, it'll be in Brantford, and for us, we're looking to our services, social services, to help our First Nations members. Are there any questions?
Questions, council? Elena?
Hey Greg, who's
Hi.
attending Friday?
Friday, right now, I think it's roads department will be going in there with the police. Of course, we always have our police when we enter there, just mainly for security and safety concerns. And they will be actually blocking off those 3 entrances on the road. I forget the name of the street, but that's a street that faces parallel to Colburn Street. And they'll also be doing an assessment of the gate that will be placed at the entrance of Mohawk Park.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, for that update, Greg. Are there any other reports, councillors? Helen?
Yeah, well, I went to the chiefs of, the Indigenous Services Gathering. We went there last week, 2 weeks ago. And because we were all there, I didn't see necessary to write a report because everybody heard all the same things. Unless somebody feels that there's something that we need to be aware of. I also had a meeting with Chiefs Committee on Housing today. We talked about a whole bunch of different things, and it was mainly talking about the lobby effort in Ottawa on Monday, December 4th. I got an email from Sherry Lynn that she can't attend. I was planning to attend, but I had asked Sherry Lynn to attend because it was a Chiefs Committee. But she tells me today that she can't attend, so I'm back on the list again. Trying to find a room. I don't know if I'm gonna find one. But the
In that
lobby's going
regard,
through.
council, I understand the process is if someone is going to travel and it was understood from the last meeting that Chief Sherry Lynn undertook to go to the meeting. So I don't know as we have a motion, but just in case we don't, which I don't think we do, just because of how we left it.
Yeah.
Do we have a mover and a seconder to permit Helen to go to the Chiefs Committee on Housing? It's where?
I had one, I initially had a resolution to go.
Oh, so it's not required then?
I don't know.
Was that with the
I
last
had a
council?
resolution to go, and then when I realized that Sherry Lynn was gonna be there and she's the chief, and it was a Chiefs Committee.
Okay, well, tell you what we'll do, to remove all doubt, let's do the motion. What date is it? And it looks like
December
Audrey is
4th.
waving her hand there.
December 3rd, I'm going, and December 4th is the meeting.
December 3rd, 4th, returning on the 5th?
I'm returning in the morning of the 5th. I'm not staying for the AFL.
And that's in Ottawa.
Yeah, that's in
Chiefs
Ottawa.
Committee on Housing.
Yeah,
Audrey is moving. We have a seconder. Amos is seconding the motion. All in favor, hands? Not in agreement? Motion is carried.
also, when we were at the Indigenous Services Gathering, I understand that Councillor Greg Fraser met with a bunch of economic development people. I don't know what the meeting was for or what it was about. I would hope that he does a report on it. And he also said he had an interview with some paper or something the next day. I'm assuming it's about the meeting with these economic development people, so I would appreciate a report on that economic development meeting, because I don't think council was aware there was an economic development meeting at the Indigenous Services Gathering.
Councillor Fraser, did you want to respond to that request?
Yeah, sure. I missed most of that meeting because I had a Six Nations Gaming Commission meeting there to set up another meeting with the board from the DevCorp. So it was scheduled at the same time. I did catch the end of the economic development, so I did not catch the meat of the meeting, but from there, it was looking at and we've been looking at this for a while with absolutely no progress. It's looking at a First Nations financial institution. We call it a financial institution because we can't really get into banking. Schedule I banking, we just don't have the capacity to do that. The direction is still, I think, up in the air, and there's going to be, I guess, other meetings in terms of that initiative. But there has been no progress on the development of a financial institution at this time.
Thank you for that, Greg.
The other thing too, I think Helen was referring to was I got a last minute invitation to a dinner, I believe, with the Howe Institute. From one of the, actually, Sherry Lynn got the invitation from another chief, Conrad Ritchie, and she wasn't able to go. It was at lunch. I did, Sherry Lynn suggested that I go, so we jumped in a cab and away we went with Chief Ritchie. We attended the Howe Institute and luncheon, or it was I guess a tribute to Chief Crystal Smith of BC, who had, I guess, partnered with a BC gas company. And they were actually, she's a chief of 4 different reserves in BC, and they formed a contractor. They developed a contract with I believe it was BC Gas, and they were just I guess reviewing that contract with the Howe Institute. The Howe Institute, as you know, they develop policy and procedure and policies for legislation in the government. I was asked for comments, if I had any comments, which I did go up and did speak about our development corporation. You know, our 4 wind farms, our solar, and that we're actually considered a model for these green energy projects. So I was there trying to push the positive of what we do. And that actually we got a lot of questions back concerning that, that is the way a lot of the First Nations wants to go, whether it's with hydro, whether it's with any green energy. And we also talked about, I mentioned the CAP process, the consultation and accommodation process, and the importance of that. And also that it's basically mandated to provinces, but the province doesn't really follow it that closely. And also I emphasized the fact that it does take time because we do go through a community consultation process when we get involved with these large energy projects. And I encourage that the companies there were some big companies there, that they do show us patience, because a lot of these take time, and we don't often work or get our contracts done as quickly as private businesses do, and that they should always consider the fact that we are a community-driven governance model, so that it takes time to get approval for some of these contracts, which they did appreciate.
Thank you, Greg. Any other reports? Audrey?
Thank you. Yes, I did my report. I headed it into the councilors, but 5 o'clock today. It's got to be about 8 pages long, and it was with the Fall Chiefs Assembly at Chelsea in Toronto. It was could have been better attended by all the chiefs, and I went on the 20th and had a meeting with the education group from Chiefs of Ontario, as well as all the other people on the committee. We went through 2 resolutions on education, and both supported getting more money for funding for education across all First Nations. So I went and took that to our chief the next morning and explained it to her, and we recommended from the committee that she vote yes for both of them, which she did do. And I let the other councillors know who were traveling there with us. And then I also let the political liaison yesterday morning. So you have a set of all my notes. I put a couple of stars in there, and that's where it's all in camera. So they do not want any of the in-camera stuff to be leaked out. And when the chiefs decide that they will share it with the public, that'll be at their call. So it was good. We met all the candidates, and then was impressed with 3 of them, and was impressed again to see them yesterday when they came to our meeting, and whether it was by Zoom or whether it was in person, it was very well done. There were some good leaders there, some good candidates. And a lot of things were explained to us too, which is the good part about it, is the culture part. And the one chief got up and he noticed that in the meeting, people get a little bit tense, a little bit anxious. So he asked for a song to be played, and he explained the reason he did it, because that's what he noticed. And we need to get back into our good minds and working together. And so the group played a wonderful song, and you just felt like you were connected. He did that a couple of times, and it was very much appreciated. And he talked about the importance of the drum and the drumstick, and it was kind of inspirational and kind of spiritual. So I enjoyed the conference, and what I enjoyed was that our chief asked for all the councillors who were there to be able to attend the in-camera sessions, because that's where a lot of the meat of the whole meeting was done, and it was really good. At the end, well, they came out with all the flags, and they didn't have enough chiefs to carry the flag, so just people from that community were able to carry the flags in. And it was nice to see Chief Hill take the flag and walk around, and it was good to be Six Nations. We were well represented, and people speak highly of us, which is really nice. In fact, one of the words I heard was that they were by the chiefs when we met them yesterday, that we are the Hollywood of First Nations. Apparently that means we're progressive and we get things done and we work together with our community. And so that was a kind of a nice compliment to get, and it was good. And I hope the next one is just as good, but we do need more chiefs out to those meetings and to participate.
Thank you, Audrey. Any other reports? Seeing none, that will conclude that portion. And moving to 7. Sorry, Dale.
I don't know, but do you normally just accept those as information, and are they gonna follow up with a written report? That's all, just for record keeping?
What's the norm? Do we do a motion to accept the reports for information? When they're written are received, we do. Thank you for clarification, Nathan. Number 7, scheduling. This, I'll read the recommendation, 7.1. Is that the Six Nations of the Grand River Elected Council approve Chief Sherry Lynn Hill to attend the Ontario Native Women's Association (ONWA) 6th annual Nibwaka Inaz Dizawin. Not sure if you pronounce it that way, but as I told Ojibwe is pronounced how it's spelled. Meaning she is wise in ways of life. Conference being held at the Sheridan Falls View, Niagara Falls, Ontario on January 22nd to the 24th, 2024. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Amos moves, seconded by Audrey, all in agreement? Hands? Against? Carried. And then what do we have here? Number 8, updates from the chief's office. The chief, I don't think has landed yet, so she can't update. I don't see her on there. So we'll table that to the next meeting. And then the final here, number 9. Who would want to do that? A motion to adjourn to in camera. Oh, sorry. Oh, I almost forgot you, Helen. How could I do such a thing? Yeah, so that will actually be number 9 is snow removal.
Okay,
Helen, take it away.
New business. I got a call from someone that, if you recall, Six Nations was putting out tenders for snow plowing. Six Nations Council put out an ad to ask people to provide snow plowing for the winter season. I got a call from someone that was quite upset because they said, no, I don't know if this is true. They said a non-native company was hired to do the snow plowing. And the person said to me, I thought this new council was going to work to get our people back in the positions and different things like that. But here you are hiring a non-native company. I don't know if it's true. But if it is, I'm very concerned because we have several people in our community that can do plowing. So I don't know why we would pick a non-native company.
I heard a quiet voice, I think, to my right. Did you want to speak on that, Nathan?
I haven't done the total review of the particular file yet, but my understanding is yes, a tender was selected from outside of the community. The amounts and the as per policy, the amounts were significantly under what the bid was from in the community. But I do want to do a further policy review going forward.
Well, I think we really need to look at this because it's a lot of our people, that's what they're getting cut out because we're supposed to, according to policy, as far as I know, we're supposed to pick the lowest one. And normally our companies aren't the lowest one. It's always a non-native company that probably has more, I would think, more equipment and more of all of this and all of that, where they can go a little bit cheaper. But we got to do something about that because we're supposed to be trying to bring our people back. We've lost so many people out of the jobs, and so many people are not getting the jobs, and it's getting so people don't even want to apply no more because they figure they're just going to get screened out anyway. We really need to fix this because that policy needs to change. That tendering policy needs to change where we go with the lowest one.
That I'd be interested to see this tendering policy because I don't know if it's truly what I would classify or that's classified as a tendering policy. It's just a request for bids because tendering policies tend to be for capital projects. But in any event, I thought we always had something in such postings that preference will be given to our community members. We don't have such a provision.
That used to be right on the very front of anything. It would be right on the very front of the job description, and I'm assuming the proposals. That's been taken off now. I don't know if it's taken off altogether, but somebody said they think it's a tiny little weeny line way at the bottom someplace.
We're gonna ask
right in the front.
Nathan to get his microscope out, see if there is such a tiny little line. And
as
if it
far-
is, I am sure he will adhere to it. You're gonna find that tiny little line, won't you, Nathan?
And as
their
far as I'm
man.
concerned,
Sorry, you had another one?
no, I'm just finishing. As far as I'm concerned, rather than having a low bid and hiring non-natives, I think the fact that you're from Six Nations should count for more points against that lowest bid. That should be the priority, that you're from Six Nations.
Can I say a
I
quick
don't
word on that?
imagine anybody in this room is gonna say nay to that. But that's what Nathan is set about to do, is check that policy and look at the fine print. And if that fine print needs to be not invisible, he will bring it forward for council review. Right, Nathan? So, man. And there's our honorable chief. You landed safely, Chief
Yes.
Sherry.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
And,
sorry.
Dean has,
I didn't
Dean
see
has
Dean's
something.
hand up there.
Yeah.
Dean,
No problem. Thank you. I also heard a little bit about this as well, and I think the name of the company that did get the bid was called Cedar Springs Snowplowing Company. I don't know. That's just the names that I've heard that did get the bid over some of our community members who were in the bidding for this as well.
Amos,
We might want to, going forward, put a process in that looks internally first. And then if we can't find somebody internally, then it goes external. Maybe that's how we get. somebody
agree. We keep bragging to all our little visitors here from all those six candidates. We keep bragging to them like we're the largest in Canada. Surely if we're that darn big, we can have our own people doing our work, I would hope. But Nathan's on it anyways. And sorry, Chief, to cut you off there. I hadn't seen Dean's hand waving away, and I'm glad you landed safely. And we let the audience know at the opening of the meeting that you were on council business, as well as the others who are going to the Iroquois caucus. And I don't know if you, under number 6 on the agenda, Chief, if you wanted to do number